Alright, what's up everyone? This is Social Form from High School Top 200. Welcome everybody to this another segment of my top 5, and tonight we've got the number 8's, and so that's the one we'll be covering now. I hope everybody's been enjoying it and getting a bit more information and also a bit more context to what New Zealand First 15 Rugby is. Again, this is some of the best talent in the world, some of the most highest rated talent in the world at high school level rugby. Better than England, France, Japan, Australia, South Africa, wherever you want to talk about. Like, I still 100% believe that we've got the best talent in the world, and I stay close to South Africa too and watch a lot of their stuff, because I feel like they've probably got the next best talent coming through and the next best stars, and they've just got a lot more people than us. They really do. Like, when people talk about how much we do as a country for how small number of people we got, man, we really do have some of the best that there is. And then think about it like this too, is that we've got some of the best talent there is in the world, and we waste a lot of talent because of so few opportunities that we have here in New Zealand. That's probably the hardest thing to take, especially when as much talent as I see every year. That's another topic we'll probably have to talk about in another one, because I could go on for a good hour or so just talking about that alone. But this is the number 8. So again, I'll just start with the top 5 that I think that I would pick for my top 5 number 8s for that position. Then I'll go through guys that I looked at as well, guys that I thought fit pretty good, that I thought were in contention, as well as talk about some of the younger guys coming through, like a lot of the year 12s. And I had a few year 12 players that could have broken this list too at number 8. Just because of how much quality of player there is coming through in this year 12 bunch that we have. And so when some of these guys miss out, it really is just sort of a slither of reasons of why someone misses out. And you could go either way. These are just what I sort of landed on. And I can't pick 6 because it's called the top 5. And so I had to sort of just be really harsh about what I was selecting and who I was selecting and how they pretty much fit in. So at number 1, I got Malachi Rampling Alec from St. Paul's Collegiate. Second one, I've got Gala Malasia Semisi from Napier Boys. Semisi Tupo Tailoa from Otago Boys. Ashton Tiel from Wellington College, and then Toby Crosby from St. Patrick's College Silverstream as my top 5. I've had Gala Malasia as my leading number 8 for most of the year, and this one was really hard, and I kind of I've kind of talked about it before when I talked about Gala, and I just kind of want to talk about the two boys, Malachi and Gala Malasia, because Malachi is he's a big time runner that makes big breaks, that is an explosive runner, and he's broken so many lines this year and scored tries and set up tries just based off the stuff that he did. In terms of an attractive game to watch, he is the most attractive game to watch out of the two. Then when you look at the grunt work, Gala Malasia does the grunt work stuff. And this is why I kind of talked about him in the way a few videos back about him actually being a prop, a really good prop. Not just a prop, but like a really good prop, who I think if he made that switch to a prop, he's going to be like Ollie Norris. He's going to be like Ollie Norris, who from St. Peter's School, Cambridge, went from number 8, playing prop, making under 20s prop, making Chiefs prop, and so on, to where he is right now. Gullah is that same kind of guy. A lot of grunt work, a lot of tough play, heaps of physicality, big, strong, taller guy with a bit more meat and chunkiness to him that I don't even think it will take him that long even to learn how to prop. I mean, I don't know what where he's going to next year, but I know that if he was to stay in Hawke's Bay and they see what I'm seeing, no doubt 100% they will look at him as a prop and he will thrive as a prop. He's that good of a player that he will just thrive as a prop, and I think he'll make it as a prop. So in terms of first 15 rugby right now, Malachi will be my number one, just because of how big, strong, fast, all the explosiveness, and that his work rate is really high as a number 8. And does make his tackles and all that kind of stuff too. But he is really exciting to watch. And he gives you so much more of an advantage when it comes to you having the ball. He just takes too much attention away from everybody else that you have to concentrate on what he's doing. You have to know where he is. You have to number up. He's a guy that if I had to play St. Paul's Collegiate, I would just designate one guy and just say, follow that fella. Follow him. Everybody else, no, he has to follow him. So if Malachi moves and my defender's there, he has to follow, someone has to take that spot. And everyone knows. You can't get angry at him from saying, no, I have to follow Malachi, that's what I'm told to do. I would do that I would make sure that you have someone mark him. I would make sure that Malachi is always known, his position is always known on the field, and that my best defender, my best forward defender, is going to man up with him one-on-one and hopefully make that tackle. I'm not going to guarantee, but I'm going to hopefully at least make sure that if there's going to be someone on him, he's going to rush up on him. He's going to pressure him. He's going to make him make fast decisions and then see what happens there. Because best case scenario, he's going to drop the ball or something like that. Second best thing you want is that you'll tackle him on the spot and he doesn't really get anything out of it, any meters out of it or anything like that. Worst case scenario is that he fends off my defender and then he makes another 20, 30 meters, which is kind of what you don't want. But that's kind of the things that, in terms of him, you have to plan for those kind of things, right? And he's one of those guys that I would put a defender on. Gullah's the one that does all the hard work, close to the rucks, really strong, really tough kind of guy, really good leader as well. And so those two as my 1 and 2 were kind of something that I really debated within myself for a little bit, because I wasn't sure if I should put Malachi up, but then in the end I just thought, yeah. If I had to do or die, I had to do this in those kind of situations, then that's what I'm doing. And so Malachi at number 1, Gullah at number 2. Semisi is probably the other one. Taylor is probably the other one at Otago Boys that I would also have someone follow him. Not the kind of guy that you want getting a break, not the kind of guy that you want getting strong offloads, not the kind of guy that you want being targeted with 3 defenders trying to get him because he's too hard to put down, and then he just finds that guy that's open and, you know, he just capitalizes on that way. So Semisi's one of those kind of guys. I have a feeling, I don't know if Semisi's staying within rugby, but if he went to league, I think he would be pretty big time in league. I have a feeling that he'll be kind of the guy that you want in league. Even Malachi would be one of those kind of guys too. But Semisi, I think there's a lot to him that you can do. And I've seen him in a few in some games this year where it was hard to get him under control, and it was hard to slow him down, and it was hard to sort of pinpoint what he was doing in different moments. He's actually got a pretty good passing game for a guy that is that big and that also doesn't really need to pass the ball. You know, he's become pretty unselfish in that way. He's had a lot better vision in terms of what is more needed by the team, and he's been able to, I guess, you know, give away that selfishness and go, we'll get a lot more meters if I just give it off here. I'll get a lot more meters if I just take it to the gap and make sure someone's coming, and then I would just hand that ball off and not try and be the Superman and sort of bump everybody off kind of thing. And the way that he's played this year actually was a lot better than what he played last year. Even though he was kind of raw and giving these big highlights, this year I think he played a lot better than he did last year. I'm not too sure, because he's not that tall. Like, New Zealand like tall number 8s. They like a lot of length and height. Guys with big, wide chests and wide shoulders, that kind of stuff. And he has that, but he just doesn't have the height. I don't know whether they'll look at him as a number 8 or they'll look at him as like a hooker. But I think his best bet would be Australia for NRL. No doubt a lot of NRL clubs have probably seen him play and seen what he can do and know exactly what to do with a player like him. And, you know, we're just not short of those kind of players. And so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what he actually, chooses to do. But wherever he goes, like, I have the utmost confidence in his ability and his talent and what he's going to do for whoever he ends up with. Ashton Teal was probably the other one that I really liked this year from Wellington College. And at number 8, I've spoken about him before, and his toughness really does eclipse everything else in his game. Is that his toughness and his commitment to go out there and make the tackle, his commitment to go out there and make it hard for the other team, to make every tackle hurt, to make every run hurt. He's just out there to physically dominate who you are as a player, and he gets it most of the time as well. I think he is still a bit raw at number 8, but I do think that he does have a lot of space within his game that he can easily fit those in to be a better player. And just like most first team players, everything's going to make sense once you get to club rugby. Everything's going to make sense of why you do things and your tendencies and stuff like that once you get to club rugby. And Ashton, I think, is one of those kind of guys too, is that once he gets to club rugby, he's going to be fine. And he's going to be a guy that you kind of watch out for every single year to see where he is and what he's doing. And because I think he's a really good talent. Toby Crosby is probably the other one from St. Pat's Silverstream. Is kind of like Ashton as well, in terms where they're really violent and physical with the confrontations that they have on first contact. Even Toby's got a really good running game, and he's solid too. I like the fact that he's solid and he runs really good angles. There was a few times within the games where I've watched against Silverstream where he did actually get them out of a lot of stuff just by him holding his ground, staying above, staying off the ground, keeping his head, looking from side to side and looking for those extra offloads, at the same time driving his feet and gaining more meters. And it just became that threat of like, well, we can't really let him get these guys the ball, because once he gets someone the ball, then a hard work of trying to stop him goes to nothing. And he does make you work even after the first contact. He still makes you work because he's still driving his feet. He's still trying to push the ball up the field. At the same time, he's just looking around and he's just waiting for that opportunity. And there were a few times where he used that to his advantage, and players would give up on the tackle and then take the bait for offload of guys coming through, and then he was just making meters at the same time. And so it's really, really something that's pretty cool to watch and to have on your team as well, because there's a lot of things that you can get out of with when you have a number 8 like that who can that can hold the attention of the defense at the same time as making meters. So those guys were my top 5. Malachi Rampling Alec from St. Paul's Collegiate, Gala Malasia from Napier Boys High School, Semesi Tupo Tailoa from Otago Boys, Ashton Teal from Wellington College, and Toby Crosby from St. Patrick's College Silverstream. Now I have another Wellington College player, and a Wellington Region player, Wellington had a lot of loose forwards that were really, really good loose forwards. Cody Lokotui was the other one from Scots College, who I really liked at number 8 this year. I mean, I've watched him since he was year 11 or year 10 even, I think. But I watched him coming through, and even this year, and I spoke about Tana and Aiden at 6 and 7, but Cody was the reason to me of why they stayed so structured and stayed within the game and stayed being a menace right through the whole thing. And his combination of speed and skill set, I think made a lot of things easier for that forward pack. And so he was one of the reasons, one of the guys that I really wanted to look into. The other one was Will Stoddard from Stack, from St. Andrews. Big boy, 6'5", I think he is. Really good runner, really good. He's another guy that I think could be a league player as well. Just a real big bruising kind of runner, and he's so fast and agile and heaps of mobility to him, and so I think that he can really adapt to the league game as well. Fatungia Via from Aorere College was another one that I really like. He was such a smart player. Good in the lineouts, good around the field. One of those guys that is really encouraging to his players as well. And he does the rough stuff first, and he's just one of those example guys that you just want to, follow once you see him up there. He was another guy. Even Jacob Neha Manahira was probably another one from Nelson College, was a guy that I really like. Him and Vero Ali was another one from Rotorua Boys that I kind of liked their style of play. Obviously, guys that are good ball runners, league kind of bodies, guys like that. The 3 year 12s, the two of them actually I was considering for the top 5, heavy for the top 5, and that was Adrian Collins, Farafara from St. John's College in Hamilton. He was heavy in that mix, and I think he was like the last one to come off, just under Toby Crosby. Lenz Moranga was another one from Manurewa High School. He was another one that just came off just before I took off Adrian as well. Just both of them just real big boys. Lenz is about 6'5", almost 6'6", looking, a league player. I think Adrian came from League 2, but the other one was Tanner Stowers Smith from St. Bede's College, and he was the one that I really liked as well. And seeing him on film was great, but then seeing him at St. Peter's was even better, and convinced me heavily of how much value he is as a player to his team and what he can actually do around the field. And so he was another guy that I really liked as well, and there was heavy contentions for the top 5 along with Will and Cody amongst other guys. I also had a look at Jeremiah Collins, who played a bit of 6 as well for St. Pat's Town. The other one was Hanade Leaf and Pele Antonio. Hanade Leaf is from Mags. Pele Antonio is from Shirley Boys High School, who also plays 7 sometimes, but as number 8, he was really good, and I really liked this game too. And so those were the guys that I looked at this year for my number 8s, for my top 5 number 8s. This really wasn't an easy list to do. It wasn't an easy one to sort of cut out players, and it was hard to try and separate a lot of them based on the things that I've seen this year. Obviously, there's players that I've seen a lot more than others, and so I did draw on a lot of outside help, especially in terms of recruiters and scouts from around the country that I talk to and that I heavily talk to, sometimes on a weekly basis. Just swapping information and getting information out there on boys and things like that, and opinions. And so there was a lot of guys like that I considered in making this decision and making sure I was seeing stuff that was actually there, not really making it up just on what I think, just what I perceive a player to sort of be like, and then seeing if my information and how I saw the game was right to scouts and to recruiters and agents that do the same thing as me and break down games. And so I really went out there and tried to find the best, and these are the ones that I felt felt really confident in putting on that list. Adrian Collins Whata was a big one. Lens Moranga was another one. Those 2 year 12s along with Tanner Stowers-Smith, just, you know, hard to leave them off, but like it gives me that reassurance of next year, how strong our number 8s are going to be next year and the selection that we have. And just like anything, right, like, you know, this is just for this year. This doesn't really, you know, impact how they're going to be this year. Like, these boys may not fire off next year. It's just one of those things that high schoolers, you know, still have to work to and develop and continuously get on and, you know, get fitness up, get into the gym. Some boys that come back as big muscle men, some guys come back, they just don't grow, change position, all that kind of stuff. But that's my top 5 for the number 8s. Tune in tomorrow for my halfbacks. Peace. Herschel Fruin.